Hello students, I'm creating this video to show you how to use StatCrunch to do assignment 1. So you're going to click on the icon to get you into StatCrunch. You are going to open StatCrunch and then you are going to load data. Going to load data from a file and it's on my computer because I have saved it. Now what I can do, I remember where I saved it, is I can go to my Finder. My file is called Math Data, and I can just drag it here, and there it is. There's my Math Data file. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to upload it into StatCrunch. So this is a data set that consists of school districts in Massachusetts across many different districts. Some are towns, some are cities. Things that are variables are income variables, population, tests taken, and in particular, SAT reading, writing, and math. And that's what we're going to focus on in this video. So I'd like a box plot. I'm going to go to Graph, Box Plot, pick Box Plot, and then I have to pick the variables that I would like in my box plot. I would like SAT reading, writing, and math. Okay, so let's go down here and see what else. We would like to have the mean and median as part of the box plot. And what else? We're just going to compute that. So here we have the SAT reading, math, and writing box plots. We see that each of these SATs have outliers on both the low side and the high side, and we'll talk about that in a moment. And you can get a lot of information out of these box plots. For example, if you hover on the box plot, you can find out what the mean, the median, and the IQR is. This upper limit, what it refers to as the upper limit, is the highest value, the highest SAT math score that is not an outlier. So they're talking about this right here. Okay? So if we wanted to put that in a document, we could get a screen capture. However you do that on your computer, you could get a screen capture, and then you could open a blank document, and then you could go to, let's see what we've got here, insert a picture from a file on my computer, and hopefully I can find it pretty quickly. It's on my desktop, and there it is, and I'm going to insert it. And I can certainly resize it. Here we go, it's all nice and small now. Now what else we can do is we can go back, and we go back to StatCrunch, and we're going to X out of that. And the other important thing we want to do is we want to get some summary stats. Summary stats on certain columns. Which columns? SAT reading and writing, and I'm holding my shift key down here so I can get all of them, and math. Okay, now what am I going to do? So now I'm at the stage where I want to get some summary statistics. I don't want all of these, I only want some of them. One of the ones I want is the mean. So I'm going to press the mean, and then all of the other variables disappear. All of the other statistics disappear. So I'm going to slide down and see what else would be of interest. Definitely the median. On my Apple computer, to put the median in there and not all the other stuff, I'm going to hit the command button and the median appears. With the command button down, I have the range, the min, the max, the quartiles. Don't care about the sum. I certainly want the IQR, and I think that's about it. So I'm going to hit compute. And we have this lovely table that has all of those summary stats. I'm going to highlight it, and I'm going to do a copy and then go over to my document, and I am going to paste it into my document. There it is. Now, what I might want to do is summarize that in a little table. So one of the tables might be a table that just has the means and the medians. And if you recall from the box plots, the means were the one in green and the medians were the one in red. And there are the figures in the table, which I can make a little bit bigger if we want to see it. No decimal places make sense because SAT scores are recorded as whole numbers. So if we were to ask, based on this data, which score higher on their SAT scores, it looks like the highest scoring is the math because the mean and median for mathematics is bigger than it is for writing or reading. If we were to ask about skewness, what we're going to do is compare the means and the medians. Here, for mathematics, the mean is bigger than the median. So what that means is it's skewed to the right because the mean is bigger than the median. The other two have means and medians that are close in value, so they are approximately symmetrical. The other numbers that I could make into a table are the quartiles and the IQR. If you recall, the IQR can be computed by taking the difference of Q3 and Q1, but quite luckily or fortunately, that is actually supplied to us by StatCrunch in this table of values. So, a question of variability. Which of these SAT scores is most variable? The one that is most variable is the one that has the highest IQR, and that would be SAT writing. So the SAT writing scores are more variable than reading or mathematics. Then, as far as outliers go, I'll show you in a minute how you can get outliers. So I got the box plot up again, and I don't want to talk about all the outliers because that would take too much time. But I certainly could identify some of the outliers. Let's look at the high outliers in mathematics. I am going to click and drag to put a pink little box next to those. And what do I see? I see Acton and Boxborough is a high outlier, that it is a town, and that the SAT math was 649. So I would jot that down. What's the other high outlier? I would scoot down and I would find the other high outlier is Lexington, which is also a town, with an SAT math of 656. Cool. So now we want to clear those after we have written down that the school system, whether it's a city or town, and what the math SAT score is. We're going to clear that And then we're going to move on to the low outliers. The first outlier I see is Lawrence, which is a city that had an SAT math of 404. What's the other one? Well, it's not up here. Must be down here. It's Southbridge. Southbridge is a city with an average math SAT of 397. And so I jot that down. So since I've taken the time to write all of those figures down, here we have it in a table. Here we have the low outliers identified as cities, their corresponding math SAT scores, the high outliers identified as town, and their math SAT scores. Our next job is to compute the fences. Now, we're not going to do it for all three SAT categories. We're going to do it just for math. And that is not something you can get from StatCrunch. StatCrunch does not give you the fences. You have to compute them. The lower fence, as you recall, is Q1, the first quartile, minus 1.5 times the IQR. So I got both the Q1 and the IQR for mathematics in this table, and I do the math, and the lower fence is 423. The upper fence, I've got the information for math. It's Q3, 548, plus 1.5 IQRs. So I will remind you in your assignment what the formulas are for the upper and lower fences. So in order for it to be an outlier in math, a math SAT score has to be below 423. And sure enough, the low outliers for math were below 423. And the high outliers were above 623. So you may be asked in your assignment just that question. What were the low outliers? Were they below the lower fence? What were the high outliers? Were they above the upper fence? And now I think we've done a pretty thorough analysis of a comparison of math, writing, and reading SAT scores. So I'll leave you with that. Now, as far as the document goes, when you are writing up your document, we only copied and pasted this for reference to make it easy to do our assignment. We're not going to include that in the document that we hand in when it comes to. You're only going to submit those things that were asked in the questions addressed by the document file. Hope this helps.